Good evening, my Winston-Salem family. My name is Alan Davis. I was president of the board of directors for Temple Emanuel 1971 to 1972, which seems a lifetime ago. Actually, probably what prepared me for being president was that 20 years prior, I was bar mitzvahed as the first bar mitzvah in what was then the new building and what is now the education building. The proudest moment during my tenure was when we were able to raise the funds, get approval, and build what was then additional classrooms for the religious school. Prior to that time, we had been meeting anywhere that was available on a given Sunday morning. It could be a cloakroom, a closet, whatever was available. And to add classrooms was a tremendous accomplishment, and we were all really proud. I love being Jewish. I attribute a great deal of it to the rabbi who did prepare me for bar mitzvah. He was such an inspirational guy, much as Rabbi Mark is today. He helped me understand what the expectations are of being Jewish. And to this day, I respect those expectations and wish that I were doing more to be a part of it. I look to Israel to be a light unto the nations, and at some point I believe that's what will happen. I wish you all a happy, healthy new year, healthy especially, and I look forward to being able to celebrate again in Winston-Salem next year. Be well.
Shana Tova, everybody. I'm Lou Gottlieb, one of the former presidents of our congregation, and in lieu of walking down the aisle with the Torah, this is a unique way to say hello and wish everybody a happy holiday. I came to Winston-Salem in 1958 to start medical school at what was called Bowman Gray School of Medicine, and joined the Temple primarily because coming from the city of New York, where it was easy to hide in the bushes and not do anything, I realized that coming to a smaller community meant that you had to participate and express your Judaism in such a way that it was a positive experience for yourself and your family. I found that our temple was classical reform, which was a major difference in my upbringing, and fortunately the congregation was open to some more traditional items that I particularly wanted to do, and I felt as though participating that way gave me a say in the congregation. Becoming president of the congregation, which I did around 1979, I had a couple of experiences which I found very enriching. The first one was traveling to Cincinnati with the search committee to find Rabbi Shimon Moak, and I became very close to Shimon and helped sort of break him into the congregation and give him a hand at times when he needed a little advice. It was very enriching to both of us. The other thing was Shimon suggested that I become gabbai at the high holidays. And in those days, you may remember, the gabbai did all of the services for both Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Now we are much more democratic about it and allow many other people to participate in the mitzvah. I particularly enjoyed giving a few Hebrew names to some of our more Reform members, so that I named a few of our congregants, and I hope they still remember their Jewish names. In any case, I want to wish everyone a very happy holiday, and enjoy your time, and hopefully next year we can all be together. Shana Tova.
Hi, I'm Arnie Sidman, and I was president of Temple Emanuel from 1980 through 1981. the 1980s was a time in Temple Emanuel's history in which the tight-knit Jewish community of Winston-Salem was evident. It was a time of bake sales and bagel booths. It was a time when multi-generational families came together to work at the Dixie Classic Fair and represent the Jewish community to a community that still didn't know much about Jews and Judaism. There were frequent fundraising events and celebrations, for this was a very social community which enjoyed spending time together. When the congregation needed chairs, for instance, it held a chair dance to raise money. Members of the congregation got dressed up for these events, and people had a good time. That very much describes the community in Temple Emanuel that we came to from Washington, D.C. area in 1968, and which was maintained through our years there until 1987, when we moved on a corporate move to Atlanta. As far as my own presidency was concerned, there's very little that differed from that. I considered it an honor to have been elected, and the only thing I can say is I didn't do enough wrong to have my record expunged from the history. I will say this, though, about the reform movement. One of the things that we're supposed to address today is our most memorable, if you will, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And I would have to say that that was the first year in Temple Emanuel's history when we used the new Reform prayer book, The Gates of Repentance, which had been published in 1984, and we used it probably in 1985. I'm going to show you a picture of that, because one thing that you need to see is that it opened from right to left, trying to emphasize the idea that this was a Hebrew prayer book with English translations. I guess I would say that during the 70s and 80s, the Reform movement decided it was no longer trying to pretend that we were Episcopalians, and decided instead that we were actually Jews. And so this was very memorable at that time. In closing, I just want to wish each and every one of you a healthy and happy New Year and long life. We enjoyed our years in Winston-Salem.
Hello, my name is Ira Citron, and I was president of Temple Emanuel from 1982 to 1983. I'm most proud of these accomplishments. An anti-Semite had threatened to do damage to our temple during the high holidays. When I heard about it, I alerted the police. They responded swiftly by posting uniformed police officers outside the temple throughout services. Thankfully, no damage was done. And we installed a comprehensive security system to protect the temple and its precious contents. Why I love being Jewish. Jews confronted existential threats from the very beginning. We survived assimilation at the time of the Maccabees, when Jews adopted the Hellenistic language and culture. We survived annihilation from the Holocaust, when Hitler killed millions of Jews in his gas chambers. But despite these grave challenges, we've endured, standing tall, living in freedom, happiness, and dignity. What I love about Temple Emanuel. Years ago, the holidays were led by a female rabbi, a female cantor, and a female temple president. I was observing a friend who grew up in a time and tradition when only Jewish men were permitted to perform religious services. I wondered what my friend was thinking as these women shattered his glass ceiling before his eyes. I wish I had asked him. I would like to have known. I'd like to wish you and your family a happy, healthy, and sweet New Year. Lashana Tova. Thank you.
Hello, my name is David Levy. I was president of Temple Emanuel in Winston-Salem from 1990 to 1992. Kathy and I arrived here with our son in 1976, and Temple Emanuel has been a major part of our lives ever since. I served on the board for several years before that, And when I was asked to become president, when it was my turn, I felt that in some ways I owed it to my father, who had passed away in 1977, to accept the job, because my father, at the time of his death, was the president of his synagogue in New York City. So I felt that my first year as president of Temple Emanuel was fulfilling the unexpired term of my father. And then, after that, the second year was my own. I was very happy to do this. I thought it was a real honor to serve in that capacity. And we've made many, many friends at Temple Emanuel over the years. And I felt, and I said this from the pulpit during my presidency, the high holidays are a very, very special time. There's a certain mystery about Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur that brings Jews together and makes them feel centered. I wish everybody a happy and healthy New Year, and may this COVID crisis be over soon.
Shana Tova. I am Bobby Stern, and I had the honor of serving as president of Temple Emanuel from 1995 to 1997. One of the characteristics of our Temple family is our sense of community. As I reflect on my tenure as president, I am most proud of how our family came together in times of simcha and sadness. Under the leadership of Art Bloom, our Temple family came together to present the one and only Broadway on the Bima, with the able help of Gene Fromson as director and costume designing by Hilary Kozlowski. In October 1996, Gene Fromson chaired the committee that created our first Mitzvah Day with over 225 participants. In February of 1997, our community came together to mourn the loss of two of our most beloved young people, Robin and Michael Block. I was so very proud of how our community came together to support both the Block family and the rest of our congregation. One of the reasons that I love being Jewish is Judaism's strong emphasis on learning and educating our children. In the Shema, we say, Vishinantam levanecha, and you shall teach them to your children. I feel very privileged to have taught in our religious school for almost 4 decades and to be currently serving as our religious school director. I greatly appreciate the support our school gets from both our parents and from our general congregation. As I think about the high holidays, one of the strongest memories is joining with my fellow presidents at the beginning of Rosh Hashanah for our march into the sanctuary with the Torahs. I remember how for many years we used to have to meet in our old sanctuary and rehearse before Rosh Hashanah. It's so meaningful to join with this outstanding group of men and women who have dedicated so much of themselves to our congregation. Donna and I would like to wish each of you a Lashana Tova Tikatevu V'Tichamtemu, a good year, and may you be inscribed and sealed in the book of life.
Lashana Tova, I'm Gene Fromson, and I served as president of Temple Emanuel from 1997 to 1999 when we were still in our old sanctuary building. And I think the thing I'm most proud of during my tenure was the culmination of the 2 years of work by the Long Range Planning Committee and the Development Committee headed up by Leonard Klein that resulted in our being able to present to the congregation in June of 1999 the plans for the expansion and building of a new sanctuary building, renovation of our old building into an education building, and the capital campaign that followed that. Being Jewish for me is a way to give meaning and direction to my life. I've always felt as a human being, a wife, a mother, a physician, and a volunteer that I wanted to help people, heal, comfort, and make a difference in the world. And Judaism gave me that direction with commandments to act with loving kindness, to seek justice, and to make the world a whole place. And I find that being Jewish helps me make a deeper spiritual connection to other people, and that gives me a lot of peace and joy. Lashana Tova.
Hi, I'm David Friedman. I was president of Temple Emanuel from 1999 to 2001, and the turn of the century was a very, very interesting time. We had outgrown our old building and knew we needed a new one. We needed a new rabbi, so we spent 2 years building a building and searching for Rabbi Mark. Everyone is delighted that he's here now. It's an amazing Jewish community. It allowed us to express our Judaism when we moved here in ways we never anticipated, having come from much bigger Jewish communities. And I only can wish you all Shana Tova for the new year and for the coming year.
Greetings from our home at Allegro Senior Living in Boynton Beach, Florida. I am Edith Salzberg, and this is my husband, Ted, who was Temple President from 2001 until 2003. One of Ted's proudest moments as president was the hiring of Rabbi Mark. As part of the Temple Emanuel community, we enjoy taking an active role in Friday night Shabbat services, attending Mavens, and spending time with our Havara. Ted especially enjoyed hosting our Havara and our supper for many years. Temple Emanuel was our spiritual home for over 25 years, and we treasure the many lifelong friends we have in the community to this day. For both of us, being Jewish is a way of life that we share with our children, grandchildren, and friends. During this unusual time, both Ted and I wish you all a Happy New Year. We miss all of you. Stay safe and hug your loved ones. Shana Tova.
Hello and Happy New Year. My name is Andy Schneider. I was president of Temple Emanuel from 2003 to 2006. And one of the questions the rabbi wanted us to answer was, what was sort of your most proud moment or biggest memory of being president? And for me, it was really the first day I was president when we had our Sunday morning meeting and I was installed as president. And I looked out and I saw my two boys, Bradley and Joel, sitting in the audience. And I felt very proud to be taking on this duty, this responsibility, and demonstrating to them how important Judaism is in our lives and how it's a commitment. It's something we should do. And that was, to me, sort of the highlight, was letting them see how important Judaism was to me. And I think hopefully I have instilled a little bit of that in them. As far as my memories of High Holy Days, of course, we have so many. I hate to say it, but I always think of the break the fast, because there's nothing like that bagel and cream cheese right after you've been fasting, and that's a memory you'll always have. And as a final thought, I just want to wish everybody a very happy and safe New Year, and hope that we can all be together next year in more normal circumstances, and wish everybody a safe, healthy, and happy New Year, and hopefully 2021 will be a great year for all of us.
Good Yontif. My name is David Friedman. I was president of the Temple Emanuel from 2006 to 2008. Not to be confused with David Friedman, who was president of the Temple at an earlier time than me. Perhaps my most favorite time of being president was when I went with the rabbi, two of my children, and 22 other members of this congregation to Israel during the summer of 2006, where we explored Israel and we explored our relations with each other. It was a tremendous experience. It was a great educational experience about Israel. It was my second time over there, but the first where I really was educated. And it was an incredible bonding experience for those of us from the temple who went together, and moments I will treasure for the rest of my life. We did a number of prayers all around Israel, and we do those prayers during the services here in Winston-Salem. I'm reminded of the different places we were at in Israel when we celebrated that. Perhaps my most special moment, and I love all the moments here at High Holidays, Temple Emanuel, but perhaps my most favorite moment was when my daughter Ariel and son Gary, during the morning service of Yom Kippur, attended the Haftorah. They split the Haftorah in half. They did a beautiful job. I could not be prouder. I love being Jewish. The work that I do, mostly as a criminal defense lawyer, is completely inspired by the fact that I was Jewish, that I'm here to seek justice, and I'm here to prevent the police state. I'm here to make sure that everyone has a fair shot. That's what Judaism has taught me and trained me, and it's what I've put into my life on a daily basis. and my being Jewish has allowed me to help so many people throughout this congregation. That being said, good young.
My name is Regina Lowbury, and I served as Temple President from 2008 to 2010. During my tenure, I worked with an amazing board and two awesome rabbis, Josh Brown and Mark Cohn. I am proud that the position allowed for my individual growth both as a leader in our community and as a congregant, especially evident when we established the Mavens Group for our senior members. It is no secret that I love being Jewish. I grew up in a Jewish neighborhood on Long Island surrounded by family and friends. During the High Holy Days, schools were closed, and I remember walking with the community to services, my mother always wearing a new hat. Halfway through services, my friends and I would gather in a large tent in the parking lot to attend junior congregation services. I have always enjoyed our services here at Temple Emanuel, as it is truly my second Jewish home. Lindsay joins me in wishing each of you a Shana Tova. Thank you.
I'm Jay Schifrin. I was president from 2010 to 2012 here at Temple Emanuel. Moment of pride of being president, I had a couple. I was lucky enough to have both two rabbis, Rabbi Mark and Rabbi Josh. And another thing I remember was doing a bar mitzvah on the 35th anniversary of my bar mitzvah. And that was a special moment. Our holidays, you know, I love community. I love people all coming together and the traditions of it. And being Jewish, you know, again, the food, the camaraderie, the tradition. You know, it's hard having the high holidays this year without being together. Thank you very much.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sid Shapiro, and I was the president from 2012 to 2014. I'm particularly proud during that period where we were able to rehire our great rabbi, Rabbi Mark, for another 5 years. With Gene Ormsby's help, we were able to change over the Temple's accounting system to be much more professional. We hired the first administrative assistant and sent the Temple on its way to being run a bit more professionally as other presidents have continued. As I think back at this holiday time, I'm reminded of attending Mount Sinai Temple in Sioux City, Iowa with my parents. At the time I was 12, 13, 14 years old, and I actually looked forward to Rosh Hashanah services to hear the rabbi's sermon. Now, that sounds unusual, but here's the deal. Rabbi Brooks would, during those years, report on what I did this summer. And what Rabbi Brooks did was travel to the south, to places like Mississippi and Alabama, to participate in voter registration drives and to go on civil rights marches. And at this time of year, I think back to how that inspired me to make social action an important element of my Judaism. So with that, I want to wish you a good year, the Shana Tova.
Hi, I'm Richard Gottlieb, and I was president here at Temple Emanuel from 2014 to 2016. My favorite memories of the high holidays have to be my dad, Lou Gottlieb, annually getting called up to be the Gabbai and not quite knowing what his tune was going to be. Favorite memories and what I've been most proud of when I was president. There's no one thing, but a series of events that I'm proud of. It's a real honor to be invited into members' homes for births, for coming to Temple for brises and consecrations, bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs, and even to be invited into members' homes for Shiva minions. It just means a lot to the president, and it meant a lot to me to be able to do that. So on behalf of my father, who could not do this speech, and Gottlieb, and my family, Jennifer, Noah, Celia, and myself, for Shana Tova.
Hi, I'm Felice Brenner, and I was president of Temple Emanuel Winston-Salem from 2016 to 2018. My proudest moment as president was when our Interfaith Connections group first got together. It is a part of our engagement initiative and a symbol of our inclusive community. And I love how we've adapted and changed to meet the needs of our very diverse congregation. I am so proud that such a wide variety of people feel that they are a part of our Temple Emanuel. I love being Jewish and part of this beautiful community. And my favorite high holiday memories of our times in this shul with our children, celebrating our traditions and taking time to sit quietly and reflect. I'm so sad that we won't gather in person together this year, but I know that we're all together in spirit. Wishing you a happy, sweet, and healthy New Year.
Hi, I'm Vivian Smith, and it was my honor to serve as Temple Emanuel's president from July 2018 through June 2020. During my presidency, we interviewed over 160 congregants to get a pulse on the congregation. We updated the strategic plan and we participated in the URJ benchmarking survey. We applied and received a $25,000 grant from the Levine Foundation for our engagement initiative. And we hired Olivia full-time as our engagement coordinator. We created an interfaith group, and we negotiated an extension to Rabbi Mark's contract. We also created a security task force and a recovery task force in response to the pandemic. We applied and received an $80,000 PPP loan, and we implemented the Fair Share Membership Pledge Program and ended both years financially in the black. It was a busy 2 years. Every year, I look forward to celebrating the High Holy Days. From the moment the Torahs are dressed in white to the day the Torah is re-rolled, so we may explore our sacred texts once again through a different lens. Although we cannot be together as a congregation within our sanctuary, my heart is full, knowing we are together spiritually, and I wish you all a sweet and prosperous New Year. Shana Tova.
Hi, I'm Hillary Kozlowski. I'd like to wish all of you a Shana Tova. I'm currently the Temple Board President, so what I'm most proud of is fairly new, since I just assumed this role in July. I'm proud to be standing here before you today, know I'm serving all of you and representing you and the needs of our Temple community. I'm also proud of how we're adapting in this current environment with style and grace, bringing to you new and innovative ideas to get you engaged in our Temple community. Some of what I think about in terms of my pride of being Jewish, it's being here at the Temple and the sense of community that we have. It's a safe place to come. During High Holy Days, the traditions and the values bringing families and community together just warms my heart. So I wish all of you a Shana Tova. Look forward to seeing you during the High Holy Days, either virtually or in some of our small groups, and I'd encourage you to engage in them as we have prepared them for you. Shana Tova.